Hey guys, welcome to the Talkin' Shed podcast. And as you can maybe notice, there's some background noise. We are in the new service truck. And I said we got Cody back. Cody, what's up?
Oh, not much. How's it going?
Good. I did the last one solo.
Mm-hmm.
Couldn't get you roped into doing one there for a while. I ripped one off on my own, and it was actually the most listened to podcast we've ever recorded.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah, so
I bet.
Might have more of that coming down the pipe.
No, a lot of that has been is that we've been pretty busy.
We have been busy, but that's just an excuse. We are bumping down the road in the new service truck. If you guys tune in to the email blast every Friday, which if you don't, what are you doing? You can go to our website and subscribe there. You just add your email to it, and every Friday I send out an email blast just kind of recapping what we've been doing. But I talked a little bit about how our service truck was due to come, and we ordered it like back in November, and here it is. And so it's a Dodge 4500. I did a YouTube video on it for those of you guys that watch the videos. It's got a Martin service truck body on it.
Mm-hmm.
This thing is sweet, and it's on its maiden voyage basically right now. Cody, what state are we in?
We just crossed the Florida-Georgia line.
Just crossed it.
We're in
Heading
Florida.
south.
Yep.
We are now in Florida.
Mm-hmm.
And, this trip has got a lot of history to it. And it's pretty cool to piece it all together.
Not only, it's like 3 or 4 of them.
It
right?
is.
Yeah.
But you know what's craziest? Is that tool in the shop that we're going to talk about here in a little bit is what started the whole thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it's a full circle of irony is what it is. But it circles back to the fact that it's a small world.
Mm-hmm.
But if you remember, back in November, we came down here and mounted a cedar at Live Oak Dairy.
Mm-hmm.
And on their sunflower, was that a sun, or what was
it
that?
It was a sunflower. I can't remember the model number of it, but it was basically Sunflower's version of a vertical tillage tool. Looked real similar to like a Case 335.
Yep. And when we were there, he said, my neighbor's been talking about this. I'm going to call him and have him come check it out. Well, that neighbor, Mr. Coons, came over and looked at the cedar, and we kind of talked through it. And he said, well, I've got a case. At that time, I think he was actually looking at buying a case yet.
Yeah.
He hadn't bought it.
Yeah, because we had the 34-footer still sitting up there.
And so, we kind of told him what it could do and all that. And so then he called me, I don't know, probably in January. He said, Adam, you remember me? I said, oh, yeah, I do. And we kind of started quoting, and pretty soon he said, hey, I want you guys to come down here and do that. And so here we are. On our way down, it's about a 12-and-a-half-hour drive.
Yep. We left at 5:45 this morning, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, and we were heading to Florida, and your dad was heading to Illinois.
Yeah, Dad, he had a J&M on the trailer.
Mm-hmm.
Seth sold a J&M 40-footer out to Illinois.
Yep.
And Dad went and delivered that today. So we're kind of stretching out a little bit here today.
Yep.
But my plan is, it's 93 now, it's saying, down here. And so us northerners can't really handle that kind of heat. So we're going to work tonight. We'll be there in about 45 minutes.
Yeah.
And we're going to get this thing installed here tonight.
Yep.
That's the goal anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And if all goes to plan, it'll work just fine.
Yeah.
And so I want to be spun around and head north. There's a hotel about a half hour north of the farm there.
Yep.
I think we're going to stay there tonight.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we'll actually pass it going there, and then we'll stay there on our way back. So
that's the goal. We got, we have the cedar brackets all made, and we've got it all planned out. We found a 28-foot tool, or a tool identical to this one, over in Indiana. We went over there a couple times and measured it. Took brackets over there. We did a lot of legwork back home to make certain that this trip was going to go as smooth as possible. That way we're not gone for too long. Hopefully at the end of the day, we're going to be gone for about 38, 39 hours.
Yeah.
That's about it. 24, 25 hours driving.
It wouldn't be hateful to be away a little bit longer, but we got stuff to do. So
if we could go fishing or something, I'd be game, which I mean we definitely could. I mean we could.
Yeah, we could.
But yeah, there's plenty to do.
Yeah, we've got enough stuff going on right now between applicators. It's kind of in the midst of side dress season, and I feel like we've been talking about side dressing for like the last month. It's just been so stretched out because everybody's planning dates are so different.
Right.
And
yeah, I mean, it was probably a month ago. I'd have to look, but Lewis and Furman called me, and they had started already. And so they probably got corn that's knee to waist high by now in southern Indiana.
Yeah.
And then there's guys that planted corn this week. There have been some wet spots and maybe some replants, but there's a lot of stuff to go yet in Ohio.
Yeah. There's quite a bit of bare dirt left in Ohio.
Yeah, a lot of corn spiking through. There's some guys finishing up some beans. The wheat is really turning.
Yeah.
Wow. Everyone kind of knew, or I guess if you grow wheat, you probably knew that it's been ahead of schedule. We've had excess GDUs, I guess I don't know exactly when those came, if it was, early winter or really early spring, but this wheat has been ahead of schedule. And I don't know, I think, there's guys harvesting barley right now. So, maybe a couple weeks yet on wheat, and then we'll be punching in some double crops.
Yeah.
But, planting progress has been slow overall for the most part. Just had a really wet, challenging spring. Really, like that week of May 20th, May 25th was the first kind of full stretch back home that was dry enough to plant.
Yeah, it kind of seemed like a lot of the stuff that was north of 70 didn't really get planted. If you were in Indiana, it seemed like you were able to get your stuff in just the way that the fronts were coming in. But around us, it just seemed like that, like you said, that May 20th through the 25th seemed to be the opportune time to get stuff in. At least that was the best window to get it in.
Yeah. So yeah, there will be guys side dressing now for the next month probably.
Yeah.
That's been a big deal for us. Got a lot of stuff going on, but yeah, this trip is exciting. We were down in Georgia probably 2 weeks ago now.
Yeah.
We were in near Macon, Georgia.
Yeah, we were south of,
just east of Dublin. I know we stayed in Dublin.
Yeah. We were south and east of Dublin, I believe. Yeah.
Just north of Jacksonville, really.
About an hour and a half north of Jacksonville, basically.
Yep. Did a wide drop toolbar down there, and now heading back down into the heat today.
Yep.
So this is a fun time of year. We get to do a lot of these adventures and installs. But to circle back on how this all started, I think it was 5 years ago. Mitch and I went on a trip. I'm trying to think, because that was a double-seater.
Double-seater install?
Yeah, we did 2 seaters that time. And I don't remember where all we went. But we went to Barrington Dairy in Georgia. And we put a seater on a Great Plains, 30-foot Great Plains, ground drive. And, down here, the dairies, they can grow multiple different species of feed, whether it's millet or Sudan grass or a variety of things. They've got a lot of irrigation, a longer growing season.
Yeah.
And so that's why the cattle is advantageous down here, is because of the water and the amount of sunlight. So Barrington Dairy really, really liked their seeder. Barrington Dairy knows Alliance Dairy, So Alliance Dairy called and said, hey, why don't you come down and mount a cedar for us? So Zach and I went down maybe a year later, put a cedar on Alliance Dairy's Case IH tool. Alliance Dairy knows Live Oak Dairy. Live Oak Dairy said, hey, I saw what Alliance had. Why don't you come down and put one on my sunflower? So you and I did that in November.
Yep.
And that's when Mr. Coons stopped by.
Yep.
And now we're heading to Mr. Coons.
Yep.
And what's even more unique about that whole story, that's a 5-year-long journey of basically neighbors, in a sense, who know each other, who have talked good things about the product and the install that we did. But Barrington Dairy has got a tool in our shop right now back in Ohio that we're putting more cedars on. And you'll see a lot more out of that tool, some YouTube videos and stuff when we get it completed. But it's a 60-foot bar. It looks like a rolling harrow, like what you would see in Canada a lot. Folds up, folds forward, and pretty unique tool, but we're putting 2 cedars on that one.
Yeah, that tool, I forget what it was called, but
I don't remember. It was made in North Dakota, Fargo.
Yeah. Yep.
And they pulled it from Fargo to Ohio to our shop, where we're making the brackets and doing that install as we speak. And then he's going to pull it down to Georgia,
which we're not even. How far away are we from there?
We're probably 2-3 hours from there right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, it's interesting how all that stuff comes full circle, and that's what's really, really fun is when you get to meet a guy who then knows a guy and references you in a good way to do more good things. So that's exciting. We enjoy doing these cedar installs, and who knows, maybe we'll meet Mr. Coon's neighbor today, and maybe get to come down again. These cedars sure are working for guys, whether they're seeding alfalfa up in Wisconsin at Reichner and Schnell, a John Deere dealership.
Yep.
Or if they're doing wheat, they're on my farm, or just strictly cover crops at every place that we've mounted. They're phenomenal. They do. I had a guy from Kansas call me today, want to know about seeding teff grass. He owns one. I sold him a 245 pull type boom, and he's getting ready to seed some teff grass.
Really?
Yep, with it out in Kansas.
Gotcha.
So I delivered that one out. Or no, he sent a truck for that one from Kansas
to get the boom spreader. Yeah.
Yep, he sent a truck on that one. But yeah, this trip's been quick so far. I mean, we're making good time.
Yep.
This new truck has got a 55-gallon diesel tank.
Yeah.
So
we've filled up twice?
Yeah. I mean, we're on a full.
Granted, we were full whenever we left.
Right. But we're on a full tank right now. An hour away, so we won't have to fill up again till Tennessee, Kentucky, tomorrow. Yeah. So yeah, the fuel capacity is not the limiting factor. It's mainly bladder capacity.
Yes.
So
yes, very much so.
Stopping for fuel is definitely not the issue.
No.
So yeah, it's been a fun one, and we're going to make quick work out of this install. Like I said, we did all the leg work at home. We got all the brackets pre-fitted, powder coated. We know what we're going to do, and it's going to go. I'm hoping 3 to 4 hours install in and out.
Yeah. How much planning do you think we?
Oh man.
Between you, me, and Brent.
Jeez.
I mean, there was so much planning that went into this. I know you and I went and looked at the tool once. You went by yourself and looked at it.
Yeah.
Because we took brackets up and fitted them up to the tool.
Yeah.
And so.
Yeah. It takes a lot. I mean, I drove to go look at the tool, did some preliminary measurements, came up with some ideas, and had Brent just tack weld the brackets. And then we took those brackets, fitted them up. They fit. They look good. So we had them finish welding them, and we took them to powder coat. And there's a lot of planning involved, because you're driving 12 and a half hours, and you don't want to get down there and realize either one, the brackets don't fit, or that you forgot a U-bolt or anything like that. Because
Yeah.
That could turn this trip that we're making the time on into one that's really strung out and messy. So we work pretty hard to make sure that it's good.
Yep, for sure.
So this seeder's ISO, which makes it even a little bit easier. We'll have to, just plug the hydraulics into the tractor, plug the ISO, plug in. It's got a rate controller on it, and we'll be good to go.
Yep. It'll pull speed from his 2630 or Gen 4 monitor. I don't remember which one he has. And basically just apply his target rate at the speed that he's going, and it'll have a whisker switch on it, so whenever he raises and lowers it, it'll turn on and off.
Yep.
And it'll be fun.
Yeah. So that's what's going on today. Lately, we've been kind of just playing catch up all the time. You have a guy call, hey, my pump won't run or my pump's leaking.
Yep.
Yesterday, you and I went out on a Raven cooler.
Yep.
That was blowing anhydrous out the vapors, which is typically a sure sign of bad seals or a pinhole in the tube. Upon further investigation, we found that there was, in fact, a pinhole in the tube.
Yep.
And we ended up swapping out that entire cooler for a new one. So, those are things that you don't find out until you're in the field.
Keeps you sharp, though.
Yeah, I enjoy getting out there and getting them tore apart. It gets you more acquainted with that product and sharper, so that when it happens again, you can tackle it even quicker.
Yeah, my sinuses were pretty clear yesterday.
Yep, that smell of anhydrous will do it. That's for sure. So yeah, we've been doing a lot of that. Brent and Elliot and Nathan, they've been out tackling guys left and right. They got some side dressers running today, one anhydrous, one liquid. And so that's what we've been doing. We've been building Salford tools.
Yep.
You had a 22-foot 5200 come in.
Yep.
They built that last week.
Yep.
Where'd that go? Indiana?
So Marion, Indiana is where that thing went. Yep. We traded a Case 875 in on it, and he was just looking to incorporate his corn stalks without ripping out the bottoms, so that way whenever he went into planting, his bottoms weren't ripped out to where his planer was sinking a whole bunch. But
we've been getting a lot of that. I mean, that whole...
Well, this spring has definitely not helped that situation at all.
Right.
But still definitely a need out there for a ripper like that, for sure. But I started talking to that guy probably a year and a half ago on one. He called me during the summer. We were talking about it, asked me about a demo. We were going to try to get a demo in, and it just kind of never lined up, whether we didn't have a tool or it didn't work for him. And he had seen a lot of our YouTube videos, and we have kind of real similar ground to what he does, and so he ended up pulling the trigger. And
yeah, like I alluded to, there's been a huge drive towards trying to incorporate all this residue. Last fall we had record amounts of residue, and we want to incorporate that. But then if you're using a big deep ripper, you go in there and in this wet spring you sink.
Yep.
And you want to try and get out there early, or rain's coming and it's been wet, and it pushes you back because your fields are spongy. So we have a lot of guys that want to run tools like the 5200 to try to incorporate residue but keep that firm bottom underneath.
Yep.
And man, the amount of calls I've had on that have been crazy. I mean, there's just a lot of guys wanting to go that direction. And the 5200, believe it or not, is Salford's most popular tool in the lineup. I say believe it or not because you see plenty of them in Ohio and Indiana, but not a whole lot. We sell more 1200s and 22s, but you get into like Minnesota, Iowa, where they're doing a lot of corn on corn, that is the tool to use for corn on corn for that reason. You get into like a mucky soil situation where there's already not much of a bottom. That 5200, it's definitely the way to go. So I've seen and heard a lot of chatter about guys wanting to go that way.
Yeah, for sure. So we were doing that. What else have we been doing? We've been
we built a lot of vertical tillage tools. I mean, Seth had a good run there selling some 2200s. Some spreaders have been selling here and there. Applicators, a lot of fertilizer attachments. You sold a bunch of Yetter innkeepers today. Triple threats. Yetter parallel linkage coulters. Our new True Trail coulter. This ground's starting to get hard again. And single arm coulters just aren't cutting it.
By the end of the week, it's going to be real hard.
Oh man, we got some 90-degree weather heading our way, and it's going to be real hard. When you have that amount of moisture in the spring, and it dries down, and then the sun comes out and bakes it, man, it just gets unbelievable. We were wet through April and May, and then now it's going to turn off dry and hot. And we saw that last year a little bit, and we said, well, now's a good time to be dry. It'll push those corn roots out, make them search, give it a good root base, and it ended up being really good on the yield side. We were dry early, and again, everyone said, well, now's the time to be dry, and man, it paid off. So far, we might follow in those same footsteps, and hopefully the yield continues and comes with it. So far, I mean, things that have been planted for the most part look pretty even, look pretty good. Not too much to complain about there. It's super early, but so far I'm excited. Guys are in that midway through side dress stage, and it's a good place to be right now. Overall, we get a shot of rain maybe late next week, and we'll be off to the races. That corn's going to really take off. But yeah, that's a lot of what we've been doing here lately. Pricing a lot of cover crop seeders and a little bit of everything really. But it's still right now, this time of year, still goes back to fertilizer application, whether it's anhydrous or liquid.
I think we need to touch on the Fennig experimentation farm.
Oh, yeah. Precision Planning's got the PTI. Beck's has the Becknology. They put out all that data. Well, man, we've got some research going on here. And if you guys were at our field day, that was at my farm last year. I can't really ever plant anything without trying something new and weird. But I planted 30-inch beans, and though, like I said, it was a little bit wet when I planted them. And now it's kind of turned off dry and hard, and I mean hard. And I talk to guys all the time who love the aeration that these coulters and shanks do when you're side dressing. And I thought, man, what if I do that with my beans? I'll go in there with an applicator with it was more like an anhydrous rig with a shank. I'll go in between those rows and I'll break that crust. I'll go 5-6 inches deep and kind of aerate it a little bit. And so we did that last week, and I think it's really helped. That field isn't tiled great at all. So I think it really helped. I like what I'm seeing so far, but it's just so dang hard that I think that aeration pass is pretty good. I mean, you see, Grandpa or guys that used to run a lot of cultivators and, row cultivators would talk about how you would run the row cultivator and it would give oxygen to those roots and you just see them green up. Well, that's kind of what I was thinking. So I look kind of goofy out there running a 3-point bar with no fertilizer tank, but I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. It worked, I guess. And on that farm, we'll have some wheat coming off here in a couple weeks. That's the wheat. that I planted November 9th, which is crazy to have a plant date that is that late. But I'm really curious to see what that wheat does. It looks decent.
Yeah.
It's not going to be what it was last year.
Right.
But I had some extra fungus move in. I think because I planted wheat, double crops, and then back to wheat again, I already had those hosts living in the soil.
Yep.
And they got me pretty good on fungus. I should have done a flag leaf pass and a pass at head emergence. So I think I'm going to get dinged there pretty good. But overall, I like what I'm seeing out of that wheat. It's interesting. I mean, November 9th planted wheat, you know, if it does 90 bushel, I would be ecstatic.
Not only that, but with the tool that we did it with as well.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
Salford. We ran it and incorporated it with Salford. It had a Valmar seeder on it. And, yeah, that's the way I'm always going to plant my wheat. I really like what it does. Being that those heads are broadcasted, the sun that's beating down right now is not reaching the ground because the heads are fully broadcasted and it's shading the ground. So when I go in there and harvest that wheat, there's going to be moisture under there yet for when I put them double crops in. So I really like that system, and I, you know, it's a fairly low input, and if you do some decent marketing, I mean, you know, you can get, I got some 630 wheat sold, not a whole lot, and I know that's not record prices, but being where it's at, that's not too bad.
Yeah.
So we'll see what we get, and if we can get some double crop beans pushed out of there, being that hopefully they're going to be planted in June. I'm hoping they're about 2 weeks sooner than my double crops last year.
Yep.
Hoping to be able to really push on those beans, you know, maybe get into that 40 bushel an acre mark. That would be phenomenal. So that's the plan. But speaking of field days, I think we're getting close to honing in on a date.
Yes.
Don't you?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you know, granted, what the weather is going to allow us to do and how fast we can get wagons hauled back to the mill. Yeah, I think it'll determine a lot, but we're thinking probably late July, probably.
Yeah. Yep, late July we'll have a field day. We're going to run. We're going to focus hard on strip till.
Yep.
And we'll get to that in a second. But, you know, we're going to run the Salford 5200, the VRT, the 2200 with Shanks.
Yep.
We're going to run some fertilizer application stuff like the Yetter Innkeeper, the Triple Threat, our new True Trail coulter. And we're going to compare them to like a single arm coulter to show you guys the difference. But it's going to be a great field day. Anyone who's ever been to our field day, I think we put on a decent show. I mean, there's a lot of live action. We're going to get tools dirty. You're going to get to observe a lot of different tools running, and hopefully you can pick up something that you learn that maybe you can utilize on your farm.
Yeah, especially going through that Salford lineup. I mean, we're going basically from, you know, the most aggressive tool that Salford has to offer all the way down to, you know, the least aggressive tool that Salford has to offer. So, you know, as far as the spectrum, as far as where you think a tool's going to fit your operation, you know, we're going to have it there.
Yeah.
So
I'm excited. That field day is always fun. We're going to have hopefully a great crowd. We always do.
Yep.
But we're going to focus a little bit more on strip till too, and that's not only at the field day, but as a company in general.
Yep.
You know, we've always had a strip till mindset, and we've had a decent focus on it. But there's a lot of guys talking strip till.
Yep.
And we have today we ordered one of the new fast Duraplacer 60-foot bars. It's going to have the Yetter cab control units on it.
Yep.
So we got one of them coming. And then we also have got a Dawn Pluralite BDO 60 bar coming as well.
Yes.
Both of those are going to be available for this fall. We'll see the BDO in July, hopefully in time for the field day.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're instead of just going, you know, stocking a few row units here, a few row units there, I want to have complete built bars that if a guy calls us up on Monday, we can get that thing turned around and get it running on his farm. Not only that, but he can touch it and feel it and see it.
Yep.
And he knows what he's looking at rather than just kind of talking about it. And yeah, we can order one and we'll see it next year and all that. We're gonna go all in on this strip till deal.
Yep.
I want to stock 40s. I want to stock 60s,
yep.
and kind of treat it just like we treat our Salford tools.
Mm-hmm.
You know, order them in the most popular sizes.
Yep.
Go out and do demos. Show guys what they can do, and get them on the farms. That's my goal.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's going to go over really well. I have a lot of guys calling. You know, they'll call and say, "Well, I want a 60-foot bar,"
mm-hmm.
and it kind of ends there. You know, because it's like, well, we got to order this, and you're
right.
9 months out, and it kind of throws cold water on it real quick.
Yep. Having that turnkey option to where it's like, well, I got one, so
right.
Where you at, and we can pull it to you, and let's fire it up and get it rolling.
Yeah. Yep. So excited to dig even deeper into that realm. Strip till it's always been popular, and it always will be. I mean, there's advantages to every, to all types of tillage or non-tillage or you name it. It's operation specific. We all know that. It's just another option that we're going to offer for you guys. So, so that's something else. We're going to focus on that heavy at that field day. You'll get to see a variety of different strip till bars running, and it's going to be like Farm Progress Show, mini Farm Progress Show.
Yep.
I think you'll be able to see even more stuff, honestly.
Yeah.
I really do, because we'll get one-on-one interactions. You'll get to get in close, and if you're interested in strip till or any of those tillage tools that we said, you have to be at our field day. We will dive in deep on every one of them. We'll have company reps there, and you will leave there more educated than what you were when you came. I can guarantee it.
Yes,
so,
for sure.
Definitely worth your trip. And, of course, we're going to feed you, too. So,
yeah.
It's going to be a good time.
Yep. Takes a lot to get all that stuff organized and stuff like that, but we really enjoy doing it and educating everyone that is able to attend. So hopefully with that later date, we will be able to get more of you guys involved and at least have an opening for you guys to slip down and come and take a look at them for sure.
Right.
So no matter what you're after as far as what we offer.
Yep.
So, but
yeah, what else is new?
Your dad went down to Texas for the Deutz deal.
Yep.
They had a marketing / sales meeting down there in Houston, I believe, and talked some more on marketing and stuff like that. The tractor thing has been going well for us. A little slower than what we anticipated, but as far as projection, as far as where we started with them, we're looking to hit their goal as far as what we've been selling. So
I think for year one, not only in tractor sales but tractor serviced.
Yeah,
I mean, it's pretty good. I mean,
definitely.
There's a Deutz tractor in the shop right now that a guy thought might need overhauled that Travis is going through, and so we've been doing a lot of service work too. So it's not only just a sales side, but it's that service too that we can provide.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Travis is pretty good in the shop with tractors, and we're able to get those things tuned up and right back to work.
Yeah, Travis took an oil sample from that tractor and ran it down. I forget where he ran it down to, but he ran it somewhere where they tested the oil, see what it would need and stuff like that. And the guy thought he was going to end up having to put a whole new engine in the tractor, but it sounds like we won't have to do that.
Cool.
So, yeah, that's definitely some good news that we were able to share with that customer on that deal. But no, he's very, very knowledgeable. He's been down to Georgia here a couple of times just to get more educated on them as well, as far as servicing them and stuff like that. So, yeah, it's been going really well for us. But if you're in the market for an 80-horse tractor, that 4080 or that 5080
Those things are the Cadillac.
Those things are the bomb. That's actually what we did Adam's quote unquote or asterisk side dressing with.
Yeah.
On his beans, we used a 4080. The 4080 is the cabless version of the 5080, so that's the only difference there. They both have stole loaders on them.
Yeah, we pulled a 5-shank anhydrous bar.
Yeah.
On the 3-point with that 80 horse.
It choked her a little bit, but
it knew it was there.
Yeah, for sure. But no, it was pretty neat. I really enjoy those tractors. They are just total workhorses. You know, you want to talk about something that's built for longevity and something that's going to be dependable and reliable. Man, those things are just they just seem to come out on top with the amount of weight that they have on them chassis, and you know, you can just tell that there's a lot of good German engineering that went into those things whenever they built them.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's kind of the gist on the tractor side of things. What else we been doing?
Well, there's been, you know, we had your 5200, a lot of 2200s this fall, more chatter than ever before.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, I guess we've never talked about the 2200 that I sold.
Oh, the 31 footer with shanks.
Yep.
Yeah. What he trade in?
So a guy from Versailles, basically he's going to he completely is going to change the way that he's farming. So basically what he's doing is he traded in his disc chisel, his field cultivator, rolling basket, and he had an older 570 Salford, and he traded all 4 of those in on a 2200 with 30-inch shanks. So what he's going to be doing is he's going to use that 2200 with the shanks to rip out his compaction in the fall, and he's going to hit all of his corn stalks for all of his bean ground, and hopefully stale seed bed that in the spring is his plan. Gotcha. He's got Martin row cleaners on his bean planter. He's he's got Delta Force on his planter as well, so that's kind of his mindset. And he also bought an inline ripper as well, so that's what he's doing. So he completely changed his whole aspect of tillage based around what he saw out of the 2200.
Yeah, he really liked it. You know,
he did.
He kind of demoed it early when it was so wet. He was one of the earlier guys out there, and he wanted to demo one to try and get that ground dried out a little bit.
Yep.
And he kept running it, and I talked to you, and he'd say, "Yeah, I think he really likes that tool," and you were pricing it to him, and boom, I mean, he went all in on it and completely changed up his fleet. But what he did is he took what once was kind of a complicated task. You know, do I hook up to the 570 or the cultivator? And he simplified it.
Yeah.
Brought it down to a one tool, the 2200 with the shanks. That thing is so versatile that it can do all of those things for him.
Yep.
So that we're seeing a lot of that. I mean, you know, I talked, I think, in the last podcast about how I traded in a Deere 2660 on a 2200. You know, we're seeing the versatility out of these tools, and we're seeing that the independent blades are what's required in a spring, especially like the one that we had.
Yes, they shined a lot here this spring, just with, you know, being able to tiptoe in there and not create a lot of compaction in the spring with how wet it was. So
right.
that's where it was pretty advantageous for a guy to run one of those here this spring, and a lot of guys are seeing it. I mean, even ones that we demoed and guys haven't necessarily pulled the trigger on them yet. You know, they're kind of in limbo, but you know, they're like, if everything was right now, I'd definitely be owning one.
Yeah.
So
yeah, a lot of good things happening, that's for sure. It's exciting, and as we push through summer, we've been doing a lot of wide drop toolbars and stuff, and we'll just progress. We got some corn head seaters that need to be worked on and installed, built and installed, I should say.
Mm-hmm.
And then we'll get into the Udder Devastator season, and then we're right back into fall tillage again.
Mm-hmm.
We'll be demoing those VRTs and 5200s and getting those pushed out the door.
Yep, for sure.
So, busy time, and I'm excited for this trip. We might do a podcast on our way home to recap how this trip went, see if it went as planned or not. I don't know.
Yeah,
I got a good feeling about it. I'm pretty pumped. I think, I've been on these jobs where we've done all this legwork, and it's just a great feeling when you get there and you lay those brackets up there and everything matches. The U-bolt slipped right through the holes, and boom, it's good to go. So that's the plan. But
yep, for sure.
I guess that's probably about all we've got right now. I want you guys to definitely stay tuned for the official dates for the field day. Right now, tentatively, look at like July 17th, July 18th, or the following week.
Yep.
So either July 17th, 18th, or the 24th, or the 25th. That's a Wednesday, Thursday.
Yep.
One of those 4 dates is going to be our field day.
Mm-hmm.
And we look forward to seeing everyone there. Again, it's going to be... We feel like we put on a pretty good show. We're not afraid to get stuff dirty. We want to show you guys how good these tools really are.
Yep.
And that's what we're going to do.
Yeah.
So,
yep.
Well, we're almost to our stop here. We're going to get out and get sweaty in this heat, get this seeder installed, and we will talk to you guys on the other side.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks a lot for tuning in, and we'll see you on the next one.
Yep. Thanks, guys.